Hi everyone, Comic Book Reviewer here. This time reviewing on issue 1 of Spider-Man 94. Now, as you know, Spider-Man 94 is meant to be a comic book continuation of Spider-Man the Animated Series, which lasted from 1994 to 1998. And keep in mind that the original plans for the planned sixth season would have been totally different. So in a way, Spider-Man 94 is being a sort of alternative take on what I think the writers for this comic book series want to do for their take on season 6. And the cover has the iconic Spider-Man villains from the animated series. So let's get on with the story. It starts off how a unknown being slowly wakes up in his web-like world, and we kind of see him saying, "I'm awake, Father. My hunger grows, and with it my fury. Find me him, Kane. I will, Father. I swear." And we kind of see how after getting back to his home dimension, after the whole Spider Carnage thing, we see how Peter Parker and the real Mary Jane are back, and we see how Peter says, "Can you believe it, MJ? We are home in New York as the top of the world." And we kind of see how obviously now that they're back together, we see how MJ asks a simple question about marrying her, but of course, due to the whole after thing with the whole Mary Jane Hydro Man clone, obviously Peter has to come clean and points out about all the things that have happened. And of course, MJ obviously pointing out that wasn't her, and obviously Peter's somewhere in the right, as obviously since by legal documents they're already married. And I can understand Mary Jane point out that wasn't her, but fails to see it from Peter's perspective. And of course, MJ leaves off in a huff, but obviously this is Peter knowing that MJ is just trying to kind of make it a little clear despite what Peter's saying. And we see how Kane looks up from the rooftops, monitoring the whole event. And we see how at Ezekiel Slim's company, obviously talking about all the things the company have done, but of course, transmissions end, and obviously the board members wondering what's going on, and we see how Kane helps his father out, saying, "How long have I been regenerating? 6 months. And you have found him?" "Yes, Father." And of course, we see how Ezekiel needs we see how Morlun obviously needs something to feed. And obviously, Kane finds him something, the creature Vermin. And of course, right away, ends up getting slashed, ends up taking his life force. And we see how at 8 in the morning, MJ gets a sort of early morning knock, and obviously that MJ is obviously wanting to meet Peter Parker and saying, "Asleep? Poor boy was up most of the night. I could tell you how worried he was about you." And we kind of see how obviously MJ and Peter have their little discussion, and obviously having to point out about all the dangers and responsibilities of being Spider-Man, and obviously after coming to terms together, they decide to actually get married now, with it being the actual Mary Jane this time. And obviously Peter being joyful, and Aunt May saying, "Getting married? I mean, we are married. Well, you know, don't you? But what am I trying to say? Isn't it wonderful?" "It is indeed, dear. I think we can put me down now, Tiger." And we see how later on to the night, Spider-Man tries to take on Molten Man. And right away, due to Peter being more clever and knowing who Molten Man is, tries to find him an easy opening and quickly beats him. And obviously gets him handed to the police and that. And we see how after basically making his way back to Aunt May's house, we see how obviously MJ's Aunt Anna does have some reasons for being cautious, and she does make a justified point about now that Peter's a husband, he will need to provide for MJ, and obviously, even though Aunt Anna can be a bit of a Karen. She does make a justified point because obviously Peter's now married. He's got responsibilities. He's obviously got other things he'll need to do than just living with Aunt May. So obviously after kind of talking about things, about getting married again and so forth, and obviously right away Peter senses something's wrong and has to deal with Kane saying, "Peter Parker!" And obviously this is going to lead to Kane taking Peter away. Something happens between them, and obviously manages to quickly get away to dress up as Spider-Man. And we also see how, after a few hits and blows, something happens. And this is where, obviously, Kane sees that something's linked to him. Peter quickly knocks him out. Kane makes his getaway and wonders what it was all about. So we kind of see how after quickly making a quick getaway, Peter shows up once again as himself. And this is also where Peter makes a cover story. And this is also where Aunt Anna does make a justified point about getting involved with everything with Spider-Man, and obviously making it clear about Hope to be married still to her niece. I mean, she makes a justified point, as Peter can be a link to dangerous criminals, and it can lead to a lot of unnecessary problems than what was intended. And we kind of see how right away MJ quickly scolds Aunt Anna for being arrogant and selfish, despite her making a justified point. So after obviously Morlun was justifiably disappointed with Kane's failures, we see how he quickly axes him off and knows there's plenty more of him, which turns out he has a whole bunch of clones, and obviously knowing that one of them can actually get him to Spider-Man, ending the story there and there. So my thoughts on issue 1 is an okay start, but it obviously knows it's trying to still continue Spider-Man the animated series, despite some obviously enforced ideas, then focusing on what the original plans for Season 6 could have been. And I do understand people calling out about the whole Peter Parker artwork thing from this comic, but to be fair, when you're having to work with a team of people, working on ideas, artwork, and trying to get things done quickly for the deadline, it is going to happen despite some mixed feelings. So the story itself deserves a thumbs up. Not the best, but it's got its redeemable moments. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.